What's up, everybody? I know I just uploaded a video on the new SMG, the Superi 46, calling it the meta, but throughout that video, I mentioned that there was another SMG that I was going to talk about later this week, and that's what I'm talking about today. That's the FJX Horus, which was actually the SMG we got. I believe it was the mid-season weapon last season. It might have been at the beginning of the season, but either way, it was an SMG that wasn't very good because you had to hit headshots for it to be effective. You had a very short range before the first drop-off. I'll link my video, the original one, down below if you want to check out the original thoughts and compare it to what it is now. But now it is definitely within the meta because we got a damage buff. I think the headshots did get a nerf, but we got a damage buff for everything else, as well as a range buff. So it completely competes with the new Superi 46. Before we jump into the loadout, I just want to mention that if you want to see me try out new SMGs when they get, or SMGs when they get buffs, nerfs, or any weapons, Twitch is linked down below. Hop in a chat, ask me whatever you want to see, and I'll be happy to oblige to the best of my ability. And I'll also link the Superi 46 video down below as well. But let's go ahead and jump into the loadout. Okay, so things are a little bit different with this loadout. Normally, I don't put optics on my SMG loadouts. I'm not the greatest with iron sights, but I just suck it up in favor of having a better attachment. But you absolutely need an optic on the FJX Horus, and I would really recommend the Jack glassless optic because it does have a lot of visual recoil, and that's one thing that the glassless optic is really good about. If you just go to the firing range here, and we look at the amount of visual recoil it has, it isn't that bad. Not a whole lot of smoke. The recoil is a little left to the right, but the visual recoil isn't that bad. If we just remove the optic, when you look at the visual recoil in combinations with sort of tough iron sights, the visual shake is a lot more present and the smoke is a little more in your way. So I do choose to go with the Jack glassless, but if you don't like the Jack glassless optic, go with the DR6 hand stop or go into stocks and go with the Modus 30 stock for the sprint speed, aim down sight speed, and movement speed, or like a lot of people like to do with SMGs, come down to the ammunition and go with high grain rounds. I'm going to leave the Opticon in favor of any of those just because that visual recoil is kind of a lot. But otherwise, things are fairly usual. We do have the ZEM 35 compensated flash hider like we do on pretty much every SMG nowadays. We have the heavy barrel here. You can also go with the long barrel, but you're not getting any recoil benefit, and this thing's recoil is a little bit wonky, so I would definitely recommend having the heavy barrel on to help with the recoil and the gun kick control, as well as the firing aim stability, which is that visual recoil. And it says you lose movement speed and aim down sight speed, but the ADS speed, the 15% is kind of a lot, but it just kind of is what it is with this SMG. And when we go to true game data, I'll show you that that doesn't matter all that much, actually. And the movement speed, minus 6%, is a little brutal, but to me, it is what it is because the time to kill is so good. The fire rate's pretty high, so it's really forgiving. And I think those negatives are worth it. The other thing that is a little unusual on the SMG here is I have the LOL 9mm grip, which helps with recoil control and gun kick control at a level of about 7%, which is a good amount considering it has no negatives at all. You could put an underbarrel on, but a lot of the underbarrels that are going to help that much with both recoil and gun kick control are going to give you negatives. I think the stocks are the same way. Here, this stock, you lose aim down sight speed, movement speed, and you do get 7% recoil gun kick, but you get 10% of both vertical and horizontal. You could do that, but then you're hurting your movement speed all across the board except for your sprint speed, and you hurt your ADS speed even more, which isn't ideal. So that's why I ended up with going with the LOL 9mm rear grip. This thing is an absolute laser beam. We'll go into the firing range and actually shoot it. Put on 3 plates. And this thing is a laser beam. It's got a little left to right. But even at the mid-range, it's controllable. Not a single bullet missed the target. Here's what the recoil looks like on its own. It's a little left to right. But especially us aim assist warriors, that's not as big of a deal. It is a little left to right. That's its main negative. Its other main negative is its damage per mag isn't super duper high. We'll jump more into that when we go to true game data. But I definitely think this is a meta contender. I think I slightly prefer the Superi 46 overall, but this is another fun option, and you could really use either one. So if you just wanted the loadout, some thoughts on the gun, that's the loadout that I would recommend right here. Thank you so much for watching. For the rest of us, we're going to jump over to true game data. Okay, and now we're over on True Game Data. You can see that I have the FJX Horus loaded in with the loadout I just gave, the Superi 46 loadout that I recommended earlier this week, which I'll link down below. The Striker 9 loadout with high grain rounds instead of an underbarrel, and the WSP loadout with high grain rounds instead of a stock. The Striker 9 and the WSP 9 were the meta SMGs last season, and the WSP 9 really still isn't it, although the Striker's not. Let's go ahead and scroll down to our chart here. We can see the FJX Horus inside of 10 meters with chest shots is killing faster than the Superi 46. When you include ADS time, it's still faster than the WSP 9 and the Striker 9 up to 10.16 meters. But then it is slower than them after that, and it's slower than the Superi 46. So the ADS time does hurt it a little bit. When you go to sprint to fire time, it's still the best up to 10 meters. And that's the other thing is its range is limited. But if you push a lot, you're going to be within that 10 meters. And you have a really good chance at beating just about anybody with anything. When we go headshots, it actually, surprisingly, because of the headshot nerf it received, has less of an advantage over the WSP 9. If you go stomach shots, it's number 1 again. Lower leg, upper arm, lower arm. Upper leg and lower leg, it dominates, but with the extremities, it wins as well. But if you hit a lot of leg shots, which you really shouldn't be, it's dominating its time to kill. One thing that I did mention that hurts it a lot, we'll go back to just chest. You go to damage per mag, and it's the lowest damage per mag of these 4 SMGs. And that's where it really hurts it. But especially if you're playing solos and duos, or you're super duper aggressive and good at repositioning yourself, it's definitely not that big of a deal. And then we'll do our usual, go down to some numbers down here. ADS move speed, it does have better ADS move speed than the Striker, and just barely than the WSP 9, but not as good as the Superi 46. Its ADS time is actually better than the Striker 9 and the WSP 9, but not better than the Superi 46. Superi is really my choice. Because we don't have high grain and we have high grain on the other builds, it has less bullet velocity, but that's not as important on an SMG. Its crouch speed is better than the WSP 9 and the Striker 9. Its fire rate is way faster than the Superi 46 and the WSP 9, which does make it more forgiving, but it also, when you're missing shots, but you also do run out of ammo faster, so that's a factor to consider as well. Its hit scan range is the shortest of the 4. Its max hipfire area is better than the Striker 9 and the WSP 9. Its minimum hipfire area is also better than the Striker 9, not better than the WSP 9. Its move speed is the worst of the 4, unfortunately. Its reload time is actually the best, so that is an advantage, especially since you're going to be running out of mags the most. Its sprint speed is better than the Striker 9 and the WSP 9. Its sprint to fire is only better than the Striker 9, but it's pretty much the same as the Superi 46. Its swap speed is the second slowest, unfortunately. Its tax spread is actually the best. So if you're a tax stance user, that is important as well. And its tax sprint speed is the second best. So it's got pretty good movement. It's got fast reload. It's got good tax stance spread. So I definitely think it is a meta option. I'm personally going to stick with the Superi 46, but I don't mind having either of them in my loadout. Those are my thoughts, backed up by stats. That's the loadouts I recommend. Let me know what you think about the FJX Horus down in the comments below. And it does have an aftermarket part coming next week, so who knows, we could be talking about it again. But let me know what you think. What do you think is the best SMG right now? Do you think it's the Superi 46? Do you think it's the FJX? Are you a WSP 9 fan? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're scrolling down, don't forget to hit that like button and that subscribe and the notification bell if you like content like this and you want to see it first. And like I mentioned, I'll have my old FJX Horus video linked. I'll have my Superi 46 video from a couple days ago linked. I'll have my Twitch linked. I'll have True Game Data linked, of course, if you want to go check this all out for yourself. And I'll also have all my social medias linked if you want to follow me or like or comment on anything. I always appreciate any interactions on any platforms, but I will see you on Urzikstan in the Resurgence maps. Get frying. Have a good day.